everybody, happy Easter Sunday. Hope you're all enjoying your day. I'm here with another tutorial and today I thought for a little bit of a spring vibe we can start to learn how to make these flowers. So I've got three different types here today. I've got a little puff flower, a big puff flower, and then a bigger chain flower. So I'm going to be making a few videos on these, each on a different flower, but today I thought we'd focus on the little puff flower. These are super easy to create and we'll be using magic circles, single crochets and also a puff stitch variation. So let's get on to the video. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using today. I've got this white yarn here to make the circle of the flower, and then I've also got this pink rose colour to contrast the white and also make the petals. I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook today and also just a pair of scissors to chop off my yarn, and you will need a darning needle to sew in the end. So without further ado, let's begin and we shall create these cute little puff flowers. Okay, so the first step to this flower is to create a magic circle. This can be a little bit confusing and I do actually have a previous video on it, but I will talk you through it slowly in this video as well. So take your selected yarn colour that you want for your circle of your puff flower, and we're going to begin the magic circle. So to begin, you want to wrap your yarn over your fingers and you're going to clasp it between your pinky finger and your ring finger. So wrap around your yarn like so, clasp in between those, and at the back you're going to cross over like so. Continue wrapping. So I have a front piece of yarn and a back piece of yarn, and it's crossed over at the back. To show you again, wrap the yarn, crossing at the back, leaving it straight at the front. Now you're going to bring your crochet hook into it. So all you're going to do is slip your crochet hook underneath the first loop of yarn, grab the second loop and pull it underneath. Then you're going to rotate your hook up to the sky, grasping that piece of yarn, and it should look something like this. Now you're going to grab this piece of yarn here, so not the front piece, this piece right here, and you're going to chain one, like so. So now you've worked your magic circle. Again, I do have a video on it slower, so if you were not able to get that, just go ahead and check in my previous videos. Now we're going to work 6 double crochets into this magic circle. So this is double in UK terms but single in US terms, so we're going to work that now. So insert into this magic circle, you're just going into it, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now to get the tight look that the magic circle creates, all you're going to do is pull on your tail end of yarn like so, just gently, and it should close up that gap. Now to complete the circle, you're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that you worked, like so, and now we've finished. So chain 1, cut your yarn, and now we've worked the circle that we're going to work our puff stitches into. So go ahead and work this. Okay, so I hope you're with me so far and you've created your circle or the middle of your flower. Now I'm here with my petal colour. It's like a rose pink dusty colour. and we're going to use the circle that we made earlier, and we're going to make 7 puff stitches into this. Now we did work 6 double crochets, but I found that if we only work 6 puff stitches, we have a little bit of a gap. So if we create 7, we eliminate that gap, and it just makes the flower look a little bit neater. So I know this is quite difficult to see, but you should be able to see in your own work. So what we did to complete our circle is we slip stitched into the first double crochet. So if you find that double crochet that we slip stitched into, or just find any double crochet along your magic circle and we'll work from there, but I just like working from the very first one. And all we're going to do is join the rose colour. So find any double crochet along your circle and we're just going to join the rose colour now. So all I do to join is attach the yarn. So I've just inserted the stitch onto my crochet hook, and I'm going to loop the next colour over my crochet hook so that it's nice and attached, and I'm just going to pull that through like so. Now to attach it, just to make sure it's secure, I'm just going to tie a knot, just a simple knot. So now the pink yarn is attached, but so that we can work with the pink yarn, we have to go into that exact same stitch, yarn over and pull through. So now our pink yarn is attached. Now our puff stitch can get a little bit cramped, but don't worry, just make sure that you try not to lose any stitches. So to create our puff stitch, we're going to pull up our loop of yarn like so. We're going to yarn over and we're going to work into this exact same stitch that we've just attached the pink yarn into. Insert, yarn over and pull through. So now you should have 3 loops on your hook, and we're going to continue working this exactly the same for 5 yarn overs. So we've just done 1 yarn over, 2 yarn overs. So I'll just show you again. So make sure you have pulled up so it's nice and loopy, because this is how you're going to create the puff stitch. So you've just worked 2 yarn overs, yarn over for a 3rd time, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, 3 yarn overs, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, 4 yarn overs, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. And that's 5 yarn overs. As you can see, it's got nice and tight and a little bit cramped, but don't worry, just make sure you don't lose any of the loops on your hook. Now this is the difficult bit now. We're going to hold this yarn so that we have something to work into once we've done, and we're going to yarn over once again. So as you can see, I'm holding the yarn here, but I've yarn overed on my hook, and we're just going to pull through all of those yarn overs. So hold the yarn, yarn over and pull through all of those yarn overs. Now to complete our puff stitch, we're going to work into this section that we've just held on to, and we're going to work a double crochet. Now don't worry if you don't have that quite yet. I did go through that quite quickly, so I'll try and go through it a little bit slower now. But to complete our puff stitch, all we're going to do is work again into that exact same stitch, and we're just going to work a slip stitch to make sure that our first petal is secured. Okay, so as you can see, I've worked 6 petals all the way around my flower, and as you can see, we can probably just slip stitch into this first double crochet and it will close. But just to make it a little bit neater, because we've got this huge gap between our last and our first one, to close that gap, I've decided to do the 7th petal. So obviously, if you prefer, you can work 6 petals, but I'm just going to show you how the 7th petal looks. So it's a little bit difficult to see where to work into, but you just work into the slip stitch that you worked at the very end of your magic circle round. So once again, pull up your loop, yarn over, insert your hook, and yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. And finally, that's the 5th one. Now to complete your final puff stitch, hold on to your yarn, yarn over, and pull through all of those loops on your hook. Then into that gap that you've held onto, insert your hook and work one final double crochet. So finally, to complete your flower, work a slip stitch into that stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1, cut my yarn, pull through, and we have our puff stitch. Okay, so here's my completed flower. I hope you found this video helpful and you're able to make so many flowers of your own. I've also got 2 other examples of other flower projects that I'll be making in the future if you liked this video. If you liked it, then leave me a big thumbs up and also comment down below what other projects you'd like to see in the future and what crochet projects you're working on during this time. Thank you. Subscribe for future videos, and also if you have the chance, follow me on Instagram. I'm at hooks.andneedles1. I post more exclusive things more regularly throughout the week. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!